Hello and welcome back to Typical City. Lucas Paquetá, is he going to be a Manchester City player and for £70 million come the start of the Premier League season? And Kyle Walker, I've been saying it all summer, he's going to stay. And he is ready to commit his future to Manchester City alongside Bernardo Silva, who I also have said all summer he ain't going anywhere. And City are going to stick their feet in the ground and maintain the quality of the squad with the likes of Kyle Walker and Bernardo Silva. But Lucas Paquetá is an interesting one that I'm excited about. I genuinely am really excited about this one. But before I get started, I want to thank everybody for helping me get past 4,000 subscribers. I know I'm only small, but I was on 1,000 subscribers at the start of the transfer window, so a month later I'm at 3,000 subs in that amount of time. I'm quite pleased with that, and that's thanks to you guys, so thank you very, very much. I really do appreciate it. Drop a like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Really enjoying it so far, so thanks very much, guys. But Lucas Paquetá, is it Paquetá? It's Paquetá, isn't it? It is Paquetá. We keep saying Paquetá. You know, it's a name that's difficult on the tongue, but not difficult on the eye when you watch him play, because he's a talent, a very special player. I think this is a perfect signing for City. But the name Paquetá, just sold my car to Lucas Paquetá. Now, that is all I've been hearing from numerous other channels stating that they don't understand where that song's come from. But you got to do your homework, and this is the information you get. And that's why you like and subscribe to Typical City, because you get this information that you're not getting anywhere else. He is from a small little island in Brazil called Paquetá Island, would you believe it or not? And that island is known for having no cars. It is an automobile-free island. It's illegal to drive a car in Paquetá Island. So hence they'll just sold my car to Lucas Paquetá. Just sold my car. Now, is he going to be a City player? Is he? £70 million, it's a big, big asking fee that could make more sense when the transfer window is closed, because West Ham are about to get busy, and I think they're already seeing signs of that with Harry Maguire. £30 million bid's gone in for him. Edson Alvarez, £35 million for him. That's immediately replacing Declan Rice. Whether he's at the level of Declan Rice remains to be seen, but a very, very silky defensive midfielder from Ajax. Edson Alvarez. Scott McTominay, 30 plus million they're expecting to sign him for from Manchester United. I think they're sticking their feet in the ground. And then you add James Ward-Prowse from Southampton to that deal, and all of a sudden you've got a midfield that doesn't have Lucas Paquetá in it, you know? All of a sudden, this deal makes sense, and that £70 million that we might have to pay may even go to 80, maybe even more. It might make more sense when West Ham have done their business. So this might be one that drags till the end of the transfer window. But in terms of the player themselves, Lucas Paquetá is a very, very special. I've already heard that he's not a big game player. I'm pretty sure he's the one who assisted the ball right through the middle of the pitch in their Conference Cup final for Bowen to go and win the game against Fiorentina in the 90th minute. So not a big game player. I mean, the question is his stats. In terms of at West Ham last season, it was very, very defensive. 39 appearances, 5 goals and 7 assists. But defensive is the key word here. You're playing under David Moyes. You're not playing under Pep Guardiola's silky smooth, attacking, free-flowing football of Manchester City. You're playing under David Moyes, which is a much more pragmatic and methodical approach to the game, which often has an eye on the defensive side of the game rather than the attacking side of the game. We came up against it. And this is the Brazilian samba lad who wants to express himself. So where better to express yourself than the best football club in the world, Manchester City, and do your silky play in a sky blue shirt of Manchester City. Now, already I've heard people saying that the stats aren't good enough, but he had, last 2 seasons ago at Lyon, 35 direct goal involvements. That's 21 goals and 14 assists across 2 seasons for Lyon. So he's more than capable of putting those numbers on the board that people want to compare to Mahrez. And I believe that this is going to be a wide player, is a malleable player. He might play defensive midfield, he might play central midfield, he might play attacking midfield, left midfield, right midfield. He's played in all those positions throughout his career. And people often go to the most recent example. You have to look at these players a bit more in depth than just going, what did he do last week? What did he do last month or even last year? There's more to the scouting operations than just simply looking at what he did 10 minutes ago. Do you know what I mean? He did play centrally for West Ham, predominantly was in an attacking midfield role. But even for his time in Brazil, he's played on the right, he's played on the left and getting goals and assists, and he's starting regularly for Brazil. So I'm not surprised that City have gone in for him, and you need reminding that we were in for him a year ago. We showed interest, we showed our teeth for this particular player a year ago. Now, we didn't go in fully for him because we had enough players, so the interest wasn't as powerful, it wasn't as strong. We weren't interested as much as we would be now with the likes of Gundogan gone and Mahrez gone. And I don't think this puts Kovacic on the bench. No way. No way. This is going to be a player that's going to drift throughout that midfield. So now you talk about creativity, which was evidently lacking against Arsenal in that first half, and Kevin De Bruyne comes on, creativity shoots up again. Phil Foden adds to that level of creativity. Paquetá, added to this, is going to be creativity 2.0. We're going to have that player that can be malleable in all those different positions and versatile enough to play in the two attacking midfield roles in the box, in the midfield that we quite often play. Either on the wide play, similar to how Bernardo Silva was playing, and maybe this frees up Bernardo to come inside a little bit more and be more creative in that De Bruyne role, should De Bruyne not be playing, because we do have to factor in De Bruyne's age, the fact that he's clearly picking up injuries more frequently than we'd like him to, but it's happening. He is becoming an older player that we might need to wrap in cotton wool a little bit more often this season. And with the likes of Lucas Paquetá coming in, fills that role, you know. I think this is a good signing. I really do. I think this would be a great addition to the squad. It's picking up pace. Numerous rumours have started from the Brazil publication. I can't remember their name, but this spread like wildfire, and it's deemed very, very concrete, strong. There were murmurings, little murmurings at first, and now it's picked up pace, and these are genuinely true, concrete rumours. More strong than Matoma, I'd go to say. Now, all summer I was saying Kyle Walker's going to stay. I said Bernardo Silva's going to stay. I said we're going to sign Gvardiol. I don't think we're going to get Matoma. I don't think we will. I just don't think it doesn't make enough sense to me. I might get proven wrong, but I do think Lucas Paquetá is a more realistic option for City. I think this one's got legs. I think this one's real. And I know a lot of you came to me yesterday and said Matoma. I certainly didn't want to create a division between Grealish haters and non-Grealish haters, or Grealish lovers and Grealish haters. That's not the intention, because Grealish is a good player. There is a good player in there. He needs to improve, definitely needs to improve. But I do think there's areas of his game that are exactly what Pep needs, and there's areas of his game that the fans look at, me included, and go, oh, come on, you can do more than that. You can do more than that. And I know Matoma is going to play in that role, but I don't think City are going to just poo-poo the idea of wiping away a £100 million player and just neglect him. Go, nah, we're done with Grealish now. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Lucas Paquetá, on the other hand, he fits the bill for what we need. He can play in Gundogan's role. He can play defensive midfield. Did you know that? He can play right midfield. He can play left midfield. He's even played up front. So as a false nine, this guy is going to be a special player. Young as well. Well, he's not young. He's in that peak age, about to enter his peak, you know. So I think we're on for a genuinely good transfer window all of a sudden. Now it's the asking fee of £70 million. West Ham signed him for £36.5 million, which is fantastic business, and that's why City were in for him, because those are the fees. We had to accept that the player was never going to fit into our squad with the likes of Mahrez and Gundogan both in the squad when we were interested in him a year ago. Now there's holes that need filling, and City, unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the transfer window. That players move, and if they improve at that squad, their value and stock market value goes up. And West Ham are looking to double their money almost on what they paid for him. And a £70 million fee, I think that's good. I think that's good business, considering what, he's got 4 years left on his contract. So we're going to have to stump up. You don't just get a cheap player who's got 4 years left on his contract. He hasn't even finished his first year yet out of a 5-year contract. So this is a serious transfer that's going to take some time. It's going to drag into the window, and it's heavily dependent on the likes of Edison Alvarez coming from Ajax to West Ham, Scott McTominay and James Ward-Prowse. I think it's totally dependent on that situation. So you're wanting United to do business with Scott McTominay, then allowing him to go. You want them to allow Alvarez to go, and you want them Southampton to allow Ward-Prowse to go to West Ham, because that frees up money It'll also free up spaces in the squad for the likes of Paquetá to leave, and West Ham will suddenly be looking for some cash. Whether we go in first and then they use that money to buy these players if they're confident that they can attain them, I don't know. But you don't want it to drag too close to the start of the Premier League season or the end of the transfer window, because you want to bed him in. You want to get him into training with Pep Guardiola, playing alongside all his new teammates. Now, I think this one's got legs. I really do. So I'm going to hang my hat on the idea that we are going to sign him. I'm confident that this is a realistic move. It all comes down to the fee, though. I think the interest is concrete. City want him. Now, what's our valuation of him? Apparently £70 million is the lining up offer. Are they going to want 80? Are they going to want 90? Because it could end up being an ugly one that drags out, similar to Gvardiol and City stick their feet in the ground. And we walked away from Declan Rice. So we've already been in negotiations with West Ham before. And I would not be surprised to find out that City have already spoken to them about Paquetá earlier on in this transfer window, when it wasn't even a murmuring of rumours. You know, it was just a whatever, not even a non-existent idea. That, I mean, yeah, I'm not surprised that we've gone back in for him. I'm really not. I think he's an absolute talent at Brazil, and especially at the end of his West Ham days. The last couple of weeks when the Conference League was picking up pace and West Ham had their eyes on that trophy, the performances he was putting in were top tier, like really good at the end of his West Ham days. Last season, I mean, first half of the season, not great. Yeah, give you that, but it was David Moyes' tactics. You give him the benefit of the doubt of finding his feet in the Premier League. And I stress, David Moyes' tactics are not expressive to the likes of Brazilian samba players who are flair players, creative players. They're not really given the free rein. You need to let them off their leash once in a while, and I think Pep Guardiola will let him off his leash to an extent. Within a creative sense, he'll let him off his leash, but in terms of tactically, no one's allowed off their leash tactically. But I think this is huge. I think this will be a fantastic signing, and I think it's more likely than Matoma. And I do think he's going to play wide. I think this could fill the role of what Mahrez has left that hole for City fans to worry about. And I think this could answer some of those worries. Then there's other news, of course. Kyle Walker, he stays, committing his future to City. I think that was evident. As soon as he gave him the captain's armband in the first pre-season game, I said he's staying. Pep wouldn't do that. He wouldn't give him captain's armband as a gesture. You know, I don't think that's in the game. Not at that level of sentiment, at that level of the game. I know it's pre-season, so all the more reason to why even bother. If it's just, sentiment, why bother giving him a captain's armband for a pre-season game? If it's sentiment, you give it in an actual game that means something. So I think that didn't have legs from the start. I think in terms of Kyle Walker, I think maybe he's put the squeeze on City. There might be a new contract on the table for him. I think his agents probably helped him out here. And so what? That's part of football. That's part of life. Like, players want to get assurances in their own life, their own personal circumstances. They want to have those assurances that, am I going to be a City player in 2 or 3 years? Because Bayern Munich are putting in an offer for me that's appealing from a football point of view. But did he ever want to go to Germany? Did he ever want to leave England? I questioned it from that point of view straight from the get-go, and for City to allow it to happen, there's no way. Kyle Walker is vitally important. The same for Bernardo Silva can be said. So stick with typical City. So far, I've got every single rumour, and everything I've committed to, I've been right so far. So come on. I love being a bit smug, eh? A bit smug on typical City this morning. Oh, that bastard typical City. You bastard Johnny, all smug. Yeah, well, you got to highlight it. You got to highlight it when you're right in this game. It needs highlighting. So, Blues, what do you think about Paquetá? What do you think about Kyle Walker staying? Bernardo Silva, of course. Get in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like and subscribe. Typical City is the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now, holding up Silva.